Of the country, 19 persons have been killed in a foiled attack on Chad's presidential compound. The attack comes after Chad scrapped a defense cooperation pact with longtime partner France. Regional advocacy lead and ECOWAS liaison officer Omowi Aigbe joined me on the news at 10 for more. Mr. Aigbe, what do you make of this development and how might it impact the political situation in Chad?
Thank you very much and Happy New Year. I'm happy the way you connected that conversation with France, that the moment Chad has disconnected with France, this is happening. But it's good to understand some historical context. A few months ago, not up to a year, Deby, who the father of the current president, Idris Deby, was killed in some form of very covert military operation. He was killed, and the military eventually appointed his son, who was then, I think, a major, to become head of state of the federation. In fact, head of government, head of military of that country. And he soon, before he knew what was happening, he has promoted himself to a full-fledged general. Once he became a general, there was that conflict within the military, conflict within the opposition to his own father's architecture. And as soon as that was on, he ran an election. And in fact, he won an election landslide, having promoted himself general, full-fledged general, from, I think, a major. So what I miss is that those folks, those military individuals who were against his own father, were still there. Suddenly, the same Chad has reneged on a deal with France. Apparently, France was the backer of Idris Deby, his own father. Pulling out from France may necessarily result in the kind of thing that we're talking about right now.
All right.
Arguably, the forces against his father is drilling against him. And it's no longer the general, even though he just pulled off the military uniform and wore the civilian one, but he is still a general in the army.
All right, Mr. Aigbe. We'll take it from there. But first, let's bring a report which details happenings in the Republic of Chad and return to the conversation.
At least 19 persons have been reportedly killed in a violent confrontation in Chad. This was after security forces intervened to stop armed fighters from attacking the presidential complex in N'Djamena. The government reported that 18 of the 24 attackers were killed during the failed raid on the president's office on Wednesday evening. A security officer also lost his life in the battle. The country's foreign minister has, however, reassured the public that soldiers were protecting the president and the situation was under control.
Let's now return to you, Mr. Aigbe. This particular attack now came just hours after China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi met with government officials in the capital. And, I'm curious as to what you think this could, in what way this could impact the diplomatic relations between both countries.
So, what's happening within Francophrique, France, former colony that they continue to dominate. Of course, that's also happening right now in ECOWAS with Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. And that, of course, is happening even with Algeria, the crisis before now with Algeria and Chad. So what is clear is that there's a trajectory, there's a path leaving France to the east, or leaving the west in international relations, leaving the west to the east. And the west is majorly the NATO, America, and all of that. And the east is largely Russia, and of course its ally. And right now in the new world, China aligning with Russia. So it's looking like if China is coming to Chad, it therefore means that Chad is abandoning the west and literally going to the east, because Chad has not officially made a concrete policy statement in terms of foreign policy to say that we are non-aligned, we are clearly going to have interventions with the West, and have intervention with the East. What Chad is literally doing by telling France to say we no longer want your support, and technically moving to the East by way of Russia and China will necessarily result in some of the things you're saying. However, I am saying that there was already a challenge before he became head of state and before he became elected president, that those who killed his father in that intervention, I mean, talking about Idris Deby,
yes,
who killed his father was literally in the front line of war, with all of the insurgency in the Sahel and all of that. Idris Deby was known to be in the front line of dismantling the insurgency. And that was part of the things that happened in Nigeria at some time, that if Idris Deby, as old as he was at that time, was in the front line, what was happening to our own president, Muhammadu Buhari, who was a former general and head of state. So this conversation was on. But literally, what is happening is there is a Cold War across, Africa and all of that. But I think what is happening in Chad has two levels.
Okay.
One is that maybe France is using those who used to be against France, who were against his father, because his father was being supported by France. So literally, sending away France may mean something else. Let's not forget that this may literally also happen in Cote d'Ivoire. And if it happens in Cote d'Ivoire, we'll come back for this conversation.
Mr. Agbena, you can go on and on with this, but it's really a good way to leave the conversation. Regional Advocacy Lead and ECOWAS Liaison Officer, Omowi Aigbe, thank you very much for your time on TVC News at 10.
Thank you. What a great honor.
You're watching TVC News at 10. Next is Business News with Tolulokpa Ogunjobi, but that will be after this break. Please stay with us.